teaching bio and we are doing the lesson 5 kingdom classification. Before starting this, there was a classification called 2 kingdom classification where all the organisms in the world could be divided into either plants or animals. Now, some animals like Euglena can make food when there is sunlight, and when there is no sunlight it cannot make food. Similarly, bacteria has a prokaryotic cell, is a prokaryotic cell, and it can also make food. So we cannot call them as plants. So they were left out. They were not coming under plants or animals. For that reason, a new kingdom classification came into account, that is 5 kingdom classification. So under this we are learning 5 kingdoms. Kingdom 1 is Monera, then Protista, fungi, Plantae and Animalia. We are doing each one in detail. Now in kingdom Monera, all the organisms are unicellular. That is, their body is made up of one cell. Example is bacteria. One cell organisms. And second characteristic is they are all prokaryotes or prokaryotic. Prokaryotic means the cell has no proper nucleus. The nuclear material or the DNA is just scattered in the cytoplasm of the cell. They don't have a well bound defined nucleus. So they are prokaryotes. Bacteria are prokaryotes because it is just in the cytoplasm. Then there is no membrane bound structures also like the chloroplast or the mitochondria in the bacteria, but they can make their own food. Now they are of different shapes. Some bacteria are round, they are just single, so they are round, they are spiral, or they are rod shape. So they are different shapes of bacteria. Now second is kingdom Protista. In kingdom Protista, there are different types of organisms. Some are unicellular, like green autotrophic organism like Chlamydomonas, or there is a unicellular non-green heterotrophic organisms like Euglena. As I have told you, it can make food sometimes, and sometimes when there is no sunlight it doesn't make food. Then amoeba, paramecium, all these are belonging to Protista, and they are multicellular also. One example is multicellular like Pandorina, which is a plant-like organism, which is a protist but not a plant. They are all eukaryotic. Now eukaryotic means the cell, their body cell, either it is unicellular, one cell, or multicellular, more than one cell, the nuclear material is bound in a nuclear membrane. So the nuclear material is present inside the nucleus in the nucleoplasm. It doesn't come in contact with the cytoplasm outside. Most of them are unicellular, some are multicellular, but all are eukaryotic, means every protist like amoeba, paramecium, Euglena, or another Chlamydomonas or Pandorina, all of them, they have a proper well-defined nucleus. The next we are doing is kingdom fungi. You can just remember one thing, only kingdom Monera are prokaryotic, whereas all others are eukaryotic. So the next is kingdom fungi. In fungi, they are usually multicellular, or they have long mycelium with many nuclei in it, and Mostly they are saprophytic. They cannot make their own food. They are achlorophyllous. Now, achlorophyllous is a condition where no chlorophyll is present in the organism. So, because there is no chlorophyll, they cannot make their own food, like mushroom or some other fungi like bread mold, etc. They are all eukaryotic. Then they are saprophytic. Because they are chlorophyllous, they cannot make their own food. So they have to depend on others for food. That is saprophytic nutrition. Some of them depend on the dead organic matter. When the plant and animal dies, they convert it into simple forms. Some of them are parasites. Now this have thread-like hyphae which are multicellular, and they have many nucleus in the cytoplasm. Some examples are bread mold. All of you must have seen, if you keep a bread or cake for 2 days and when you open the tiffin there is some cottony mass, that is bread mold. Then we have toadstool. Yeast is also a unicellular fungi which is used in making of bread and cakes. And a very important fungi is penicillium, which was used to make the first antibiotic penicillin. Now coming to the next kingdom is kingdom Plantae. Kingdom Plantae will have all the plants right from the smallest plant, herb, to the tallest tree. So they are all green color, so they are all photosynthetic, they can make their own food. Then all are multicellular. Again they are eukaryotic, their cells are eukaryotic. Then all are autotrophic. As I have told you, they can make their own food. So they are also called producers because they can trap the solar energy from the sun and convert it into chemical energy. So because they are autotrophic, they are called self-nourishing. All others depend on them. Now this Plantae can be divided into 5 groups. The first one is Thallophyta, then Bryophyta, then Pteridophyta. These are moving from simple to complex in the structure. So Thallophyta are the plants which have a body called thallus-like body or thallus that is not differentiated into root, stem or leaves. So they are plants without root, stem and leaves. They also don't have proper conducting systems like xylem and phloem. Most of them are aquatic. Thallophytes are aquatic. Like there is multicellular algae. Sometimes seaweed, scalp, etc. belong to this. Now, they are autotrophic because they have chlorophyll. But body doesn't comprise of roots, stem, leaves. They're just simple body, but they can make their own food. Now coming to Bryophyta, examples are mosses and liverworts. They have a plant-like body but lack through root, stem and leaves, but they are autotrophic. They can make their own food, but they don't lack through root, stem and leaves, but they have root-like rhizoids which help them in the functioning of the like roots. Then they have stem like collid and leaf like phyllids. So these are actually like roots. These are like stem, and these phyllids are like leaves. So they'll be doing the function of the root, stem and leaves like the other higher plants. Now coming to Pteridophyta, this example is all the ferns. They are green in color, they are autotrophic. They have a plant-like body with roots, stem and leaves. They have leaves which have leaflets. They are called fronds. And on the underside of the leaflet there are two brown spots which are spores. So they reproduce by spores. And they are non-flowering. These are all autotrophic, so they can also make their own food. Now coming to gymnosperms, example is cycas, then pine or fir. These are some examples. Now they have no fruits, or they have their seeds which can be seen by the eyes, naked eyes. So they are called naked seeds because they are not enclosed in the fruit, but they are present on cones. There are male and female separate cones on the tree, and they are like woody structures where the seeds are on the outside of that cone. So like woody structures with seeds outside. The male cone will have pollen, whereas the female cone will have ovules. These are again non-flowering, and they are divided into two main categories. One is cycads and the second one is conifers. Now the last one is angiosperms. They are well developed trees, right from a herb to the shrub to the tall tree. So I'll just all flowering plants, but all may not bear fruits. Like some will bear fruits, that is all the fruits and vegetable trees, whereas rose, hibiscus and all, they don't develop into fruits. The flowers will be formed, after the lifespan they'll wither away. Now highly developed plant body with proper roots, stem and leaves. So this angiosperms have proper roots, stem and leaves. Even gymnosperms, the body is differentiated into proper roots, stem and leaves. Now coming to, they also bear in addition fruits and flowers. Now these are again divided, can be again divided into two categories. One is monocots and one is dicots, based on the structure of the seed. If the seed is has one seed leaf or one cotyledon, it is monocot, like the maize. And if it is it has two seed leaves, it is a dicot. So some examples are maize, rice, wheat. Their examples are pea, then your beans, mango, etc. Now, how do you know when when you cannot see a seed? For example, rose, or apple or sunflower, we cannot see the seeds. In some, like rose, we cannot see the seed. So how will you find out whether it is a monocot or dicot? You can also find out on their root system. That is, the monocots will have always fibrous root system, whereas the dicots will have taproot system. Another thing how you can find out is the monocots will always have parallel venation in their leaves, whereas the dicots will have reticulate venation, a network. Now find out what is coconut belong to, whether it is a monocot or dicot. Coconut, we eat the endosperm inside a seed, and it cannot be divided into two equal parts, no cotyledons, equal cotyledons, so it is a monocot. We'll be doing the plant Animalia in the next class. So read the lesson well and start answering the questions which are given behind. Thank you.